I'm back with another episode of All Things Black. Today, I have my friend Nicole here. Before we get started, I just want to say that I had to bring her on because she has been instrumental in my developing, my voice to put to my experiences with this topic. It's been very hard to bring up as a lot of you guys have expressed, with family or friends. Um, and that's not been my experience at all with my friend. It doesn't matter if it's a story about something that's happened, me asking her if she believes the situation is an example of colorism, me speaking about the studies I've done, something I read, or an interview. She's always there to listen to me, encourage me, and to push me to keep going. um, Again, with this topic, it's very easy to feel invalidated, but that's just not my experience at all. With my friend, it's always been a safe space for me where I can speak about colorism without, backlash or gaslighting. So thank you, Nicole, for your support, and let's talk about colorism today. What does the word colorism mean to you?
The unfair stereotypes and the unfair treatment against people with darker skin.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think are some examples of colorism?
Just the stereotypes that you hear all the time that women with dark skinned women have attitudes. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And but light skinned women get that same stereotype, but
Hmm.
it's more of a positive towards them because they have a right to have an attitude.
Hmm.
But women with darker skin don't have that right because they have darker skin, and that means that darker skin is bad, so or viewed as bad with colorism. So
Yeah.
uh, that's an example. And this really irritates me too.
Yeah. I know it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really irritates. I didn't bring that up. That really irritates me.
Right.
Yeah, really, in the black community, is like more of a characteristic and not just a physical attribute.
Right. Right. If someone has an
So,
attitude, it's
and
because
what does
they're
that
dark
mean?
skinned.
Huh?
If someone has an attitude, it's because they're dark skinned, not just because
Right.
they have an attitude. Maybe I'm a
Right.
person who has an attitude.
Or
One
maybe you had a
right.
bad day. Exactly.
I can have an attitude. I
It's
shouldn't have to
okay.
be less, mean because I'm
Hmm.
darker.
Or that you have to like edit yourself because you're trying to be like, well, how would people perceive me because of my skin tone? And
Right.
that's really that other people with lighter skin tones don't have to think about.
They don't, because, when people describe light skinned women, if they say, oh, they have an attitude, that's not seen as a negative thing. And if you do have an attitude and you're a dark skinned woman, you're acting, light skinned because you don't have that. If you have I wouldn't say attitude, maybe like a air or confidence, or
Right. Confidence.
if you're not, so readily talking to people, whatever it may be, it's because like they feel it's okay for a lighter woman. It's not okay for a darker woman to be the same way.
Exactly.
She has to be open, honest. I mean, not honest. She has to be open, nice, friendly. You know,
Accept.
she has to make up for her skin tone, basically.
And, oh,
Yeah,
but I would just hand clap. I set my phone down. That was
yeah.
good.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So let's move on.
All right.
Why do you believe people have negative attitudes about dark skin?
Um. Well, the most obvious one, slavery. That's where it all started.
Yeah,
Dividing the African Americans between skin color and everything, which is really sad because people who are very ignorant to colorism but are colorists, they don't realize that they're where it comes from, and they
right.
don't really care either. It's kind of like, well, white people thought lighter skin was nicer, so they treated they let them in the house, and a lot of times because they were probably their kids, and then darker people were put out into the fields because they thought darker skin was bad. Which in all, the whole thing is they didn't like black people; they hated you anyway. So
Right.
why would you adopt the same mindset they had? You know what I'm saying?
My
It's
sister,
stupid.
it stems from slavery.
Yeah.
We have adopted white supremacist ideology. We have not been able to let it go. I mean, it's generational trauma and
Mhm.
generational hate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It stems from slavery. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, and then it's been perpetuated by media, music videos, you know, commercials, all that. But slavery is really to blame.
Yeah.
So,
Even the way you talk about the color black is associated with like bad things. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, okay. That's like we talked about that before. It's like people hate black cats. If you see a black cat, it's bad luck. Black dogs are like least likely to be adopted. Then I was telling you about how people love white Air Force Ones, but they say black Air Force Ones are dirty, and they
Mhm.
if someone has on black Air Force Ones, you should run because they're gonna rob you, even though it's
Right.
the exact same
Shoe.
shoe.
Yeah.
The white one is
Or
a positive, the black
mhm.
one is a criminal.
Yep.
And shoes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this one lady I was talking to, Doctor, or no, the lawyer lady,
Yeah.
Professor Norwood, she
Yeah.
was saying how like some stuff like some foods that are naturally white
Mhm.
are dyed to I'm sorry, some foods that are naturally brown
Mhm.
are dyed to white.
Oh,
Um,
like rap and stuff.
like she was talking about like yeah, rice. I think she said sugar,
Yeah.
um,
Flour,
flour.
wheat.
Those are all naturally brown foods, but they dye them to be white. But why?
That's literally whitewashing.
Yeah, they're whitewashing food.
Golly.
Okay.
That's what's going. Never mind. But that's really messed up.
Yeah,
Really
they're
messed up.
whitewashing food. Like that's when you're just taking it too far.
Yeah. And like some more examples of like colorism, like they'll even for your like characters for like books and stuff when they make them into movies.
Yeah.
If this if the character is literally described with having darker skin, she's a darker skinned black girl. They'll get a light skinned actor with curly hair. It's so annoying.
Yes. 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 People were
Because it's
mad
like, what
about
is
that.
the dark skin act? Like, I know there's enough. I'm
They
sorry, I'm
they
cutting.
weren't available.
They weren't available. It's not like they came to the audition at all. You know what I'm saying? They didn't show up. It's like
Yeah.
they weren't good enough to be in the movie or something.
Yeah. They did that in the some movie people were just talking about lately. They made I think it was Nia Simone,
Mm.
maybe.
Oh, Nina
They
Simone.
said Nia Simone. Is that who it was? Is that the movie that just came out?
Yeah, Nina Simone. They used Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, they said Nia Simone is a dark skinned woman, and they
And
used
Zoe
a
Saldana
yeah.
is a black Latina. She's half. She's half. I think she's. I don't know what country she's like. She's black and Latina. I know that, but she's light skinned.
Yeah, so
Nina
it
Simone is
was
known for being dark skinned and being very proud about that and talking about that in her music.
yeah, and they use a light skin woman. But that's just like also in the book. I think The Hate You Give. People thought that the actor would have been a dark skinned girl, and it turned out to be a light skinned girl as well. Um, so I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like people are trying to make it like, because you know how they're trying to make it like more marketable. It's like, well, the problem is you keep on
Exactly.
pushing the idea of colorism because you will not allow people with darker skin to be on TV or to have leading roles. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If they are on TV, it has to be something negative. They have to
Yeah,
be in
or
a
like
negative role.
sidekick. Yeah.
I saw someone write the same thing about what's the movie? Um, where they adopted the black guy. He turned into a football player.
Oh, The Blind Side.
The Blind Side. So that actor, he basically wants. So I saw someone write an article about it. But the real guy from The Blind Side, he basically was saying that wasn't a true reflection of him. Like in the movie, they made him very like illiterate, kind of.
Yeah, he's a
And
very quiet guy.
But that wasn't his true nature. Like he didn't know how to, speak and um, they made it. First of all, it had a lot of white savior complex mixed with a lot of colorism in it already. And to make, if he wasn't in real life like that, like had some type of disability or something, he shouldn't have been like that in the movie.
I always thought it was weird how they
Because in
portrayed
the
him.
movie, he
I'm
seemed like
like
he had some type.
learning disability or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they portrayed him as having a learning disability kind of in the movie, and that wasn't real
That's nice.
life.
Because I always
No.
thought it was weird. Because I'm like, he had such an like the position he played. It doesn't make sense that he would be some. Not saying that people who I forgot was he an old lineman or something, but I forget. It's like so weird. It didn't. It always seemed weird that his personality didn't match up because I know the player. I was like, he acted like that when he was younger. It just didn't seem like it matched up. I just didn't know that he had said that. It always seemed weird because I was like, he doesn't seem like that's how he would act. But I didn't do any research on it. But that's interesting to
Yeah,
see
like,
that he actually said that's not how he was.
yeah, he said he didn't really like how he was portrayed in the movie. But of course, if there's a dark skinned, heavier set guy and he gets with a family, of course he has to be in the worst type of situation ever because, you know,
You gotta be saved.
you gotta be saved. So,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So, what role do you believe colorism plays in dating and marriage? This is something me and you have talked about a lot. So, yeah,
Yeah. Um.
we got some real life examples.
Okay. Woo. Oh man, like dating. Okay, for one, we talked about this recently. Like when people talk about they want mixed kids, or like I want a pretty baby.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? All babies are beautiful. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But when you say you want a pretty baby, it's like why? Okay, so what are you saying? A baby with darker skin is not pretty, but if she has or he has lighter skin, lighter eyes, and a certain hair texture, it's like the baby's pretty. You
Yeah.
know? So it's like you're and that's kind of weird. That's
It's
really
it's creepy.
weird and morbid to be like, because I've heard men say, "Oh, I want my child to look like their mother, and the mother will be, a lighter skinned woman with a certain hair texture." And
Honestly, that
it's
doesn't sit
kind of, it's really, really weird to be looking at your daughters.
yeah.
It's almost like they're like, "Oh, thank God, you're gonna be this skin tone with this hair texture," because you're like, it's like they know the treatment that women with darker skin get. So
Yeah.
they're kind of saving them in a weird way, but it's really messed up. You shouldn't be so calculated to create children that don't look black.
Yeah.
It's like, what is so wrong with having a just nothing's wrong with black people. Like with the colorism and dating, because I know you're saying you had a question about preference versus like what was the other question? Preference versus
Colorism.
for that's the next question. Preference versus colorism. Preference is like I like girls with long hair, or I like guys who get their hair cut short. That's a
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
That's just a preference. There's nothing associated with it. Now, if you're talking about hair, or I like people with this type of hair texture. Why? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Why? Is one better than the
Unless,
other?
yeah.
If you say talking about length, like if
Yeah.
you're
I
saying
don't.
you like long
I think there's
hair,
a
there's nothing
difference.
wrong with that.
Like girls with longer hair styles, then I like girls with shorter hairstyles. That's different than, oh, I like a girl with curly hair. Because usually when they're saying curly hair,
I'm a light skin.
yeah,
Light skin with they're talking about an Instagram girl.
yeah,
So yeah, so that's the difference between like I know a lot of with colorism and dating it has to do with status too. Like we were talking about with the men wanting their daughters to look like their mother who is lighter skinned with a because it's a status thing. It's like, well, you're above these other dark people who just look black,
right.
who look like African Americans. So messed up. And like how a lot of celebrity black men once they get famous, they'll usually divorce or break up with their uh, wives or girlfriends who are darker skinned, and then get a lighter skinned woman.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so obvious. Like
So obvious.
I know one celebrity. He's a producer now. He put up a picture of his kids. So his daughter, when he before he got rich, is a dark skinned girl. She looks just like him. Okay,
Mm.
she's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
girl, but she looks just like him. Now that he's famous, all of his subsequent kids are mixed race. Every single one of them. Every single one. And not that there's anything inherently wrong with mixed race kids.
No.
The issue is like, okay, black women are only okay when you don't have money, but when you do have money,
When everybody can see you.
yeah, when everybody can see you, there's no more use for a black woman.
Right, because it's like, well, it's a status thing now. I need a lighter skinned woman because that's the, it's the closest thing to white.
Right.
The lighter, the better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because it's also it could get blurred. The lines can get blurred when you're like when people do uh like date outside of their race. Um, just talking about white people. It could be because you just fell in love with a white person. But
Yeah.
if it's really because you have a disdain for like black people, you gotta be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of black people have self hate.
Yeah.
And it's really, you just have to be honest with yourself. So yeah. That's my answer to those questions.
Okay. So okay, so I don't feel okay, so you answered about dating and marriage. I don't know if you fully answered what's the difference between colorism and preference.
Oh, colorism and preference. Colorism when you're dating is you stay away from women from a certain skin tone because you think it's bad.
Right.
And preference is like like I said, with the long hair, short hair, or like you like, I don't know. Preference doesn't have there's a good and bad associated. It's just what you like. It's just what you're attracted to. You know what I'm saying? It's just simply like even if you found someone you were attracted to who, if you like long hair but had shorter hair and was a certain skin tone, you wouldn't mind. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no like, oh, you're good or bad. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So, do you think that our skin tone preferences, can there be a non-colorist reason for a skin tone preference?
I think there can be.
Okay.
I think there can be. I think there can be, but it can get really muddy. You have to just be completely honest. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be like this. You could be like, well, if you say, well, I just prefer lighter skinned men or lighter skinned women, you could be like, well, why do you like lighter skinned men? Why do you prefer them over, people with darker skin? What's up with that? You have to be honest with yourself. And you could also be like, well, I only date people with darker skin. Are you trying to be patronizing? Are you trying to be like feeling like you need to be a savior for them? You know what I'm saying? So you just have to be honest um to yourself about it. But I believe that there can be like, I just prefer the skin tone because you're just being honest and pure about it. But I believe it can, but you have to be, honest with yourself because it can get the lines can get a little, you know, you just be honest with yourself about it.
Okay. I've heard maybe one pure reason, and it was like, or maybe I've heard two pure reasons. One girl
Yeah.
said she likes dark skinned men because her dad's dark skinned. She wants a guy that looks like her dad. I heard another girl say she likes dark skinned men because she's dark skinned and she thinks they could understand her experience better. Those I thought were reasonable reasons. Now,
Yeah.
I have yet to hear a uh, searched all over.
Find nobody. Like you're
Okay.
talking about if it's from a man's perspective.
Yeah, I have to be honest. From a man's perspective, I have
Yeah, I
yet
know
to
that's
hear.
the elephant.
Huh?
That's the elephant in the room because a lot of guys are like,
I've heard one guy say because his mom's light skinned. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I guess it definitely feels different coming from guys.
it does.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why, but it does feel different coming from guys.
Well, I think it feels different because it's like men are always like, especially black men, because of colorism, they like pick and choose. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? They pick and choose like, oh, this is beautiful, this isn't beautiful, and they can be really harsh with their words, and
exactly.
they perpetuate the stereotypes as well. Like, so it's really like you get on the defense because it's like, well, why are you dating this lighter skinned woman, or why do you like lighter skin? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, because like I know for me, if I was ever talking to someone and they were like, "Oh, I just usually go for lighter women," or "I just usually prefer lighter women," I just don't know if me and them would have anything else to talk about. Now, I know they're
yeah,
saying that's what they usually prefer, but like
I think
I
yeah,
would like to probably like be like, "Oh, okay, well, why?" But
yeah.
for me, I just wouldn't really like I just
Cause
don't think I don't think that you that's like I've heard a girl say she likes to know who guys have dated before her, like what they look like because she just I'm not gonna I don't want to be your first because a lot of guys will say like
mm,
in my study one of the guys was like, oh, I prefer brown skins because my girlfriend's brown skin and she changed my opinion, and I'm like, if that was my boyfriend, he would have been single. Okay.
like okay, what opinion?
Exactly.
There is no opinion. It's just simply she has this skin tone. She is not the skin tone. She has the skin. It's a physical attribute. She could have come out with any skin tone. She could come out even because you've seen two uh darker skinned parents have white babies.
Yeah.
Okay, anything could happen when you got them genes involved. She is just that's just her skin color. That she's not her skin color, and that's the problem. Like that's the whole idea that you are your skin color. Your skin color means this. That's not what it is. It's just a physical attribute. We don't do the same thing with like what we do. We do it with a lot of stuff actually. I was
Yeah.
gonna say height, but people talk about tall people, short people, not as badly, but like it's just a physical attribute. It's not a characteristic. You're not going to be a certain way just because you have a certain attribute about yourself. So frustrating. What are you talking about? She changed your opinion. She's
Right.
a person. She's not a
Right.
color. Like
You
they do
said to
that to
think
us,
about.
right? Black white people do that to us.
Yeah, exactly. You
How
said
dare you
think
do
about
that to
height.
your own
It made me
people?
think. Huh? Sorry.
I said, how you dare? I said, how dare you do that to your own people?
You said think about height. I thought about this guy. He was like, so a girl was talking about people not preferring dark skin or saying they prefer light skin. He was like, well, y'all prefer tall guys. I'm like, where is the compare? There really is no comparison. It really
It
is
doesn't.
no comparison.
It's like you just grasping for straws.
Yeah, that
You
really
just
is
trying to be in
because
the argument
nobody's like,
without.
oh, I don't like tall guys because I mean, I don't like short guys because they're just naturally more ugly and they're
How tall
aggressive.
was
They're too loud, or I don't remember.
like there was personal problems with that rather than
Right,
real facts.
right. It's not the
Like,
same.
I'm sorry, sir. I've seen plenty girls who have boyfriends that are the same height as them.
Right. A lot of women have tall preferences and will still date shorter men.
Now let's see this. Will the man do the same?
That
A lot of black men will not be around. A lot of black men will not put up. with things that Black women put up with.
I agree.
Like, if we were to, like, because this is the thing. I believe, not in every case, there are some people who are ignorant. There are some ignorant Black women, just gonna be honest, who be like, well, if he's not light skinned, I don't want to date him. You know what I'm saying? Who have that.
Yeah.
But if you're a good dude, that woman will date you if you are not her preference of skin tone. Black men will not do the same thing.
No, I completely agree.
Pick and choose and be like, well, I'm down for y'all today. I'm not down for y'all now. Mm-hmm. And if a Black woman, like, I remember, what's her name? Serena
Williams. Talk about it. She
married a white. Now, before she married that white man, what did they call her? Oh,
they call Serena every
gorilla. She's a man. These are Black men now calling her all these horrible names. As soon as she finds a nice white man,
bad wench.
Well, she's a traitor. All these things.
Exactly, but they talk all. They call Serena everything but a child of God. But was so destroyed when she started dating a white man. It destroyed them from the inside out.
As Black men, you don't own Black women.
Exactly.
You don't.
We're allowed a lot of Black men think they can disrespect Black women, dark-skinned Black women, but hate to see them with another race. Hate it.
Because they don't feel they're good enough. And that says a lot about how you think about Black men. Really. If you don't think that Black woman is good enough to date anybody else, or that you own her, and that she has not the right to do anything, because like Black women from the beginning of time have dealt with a lot. Well, from the beginning of time in America, have dealt with a lot. Had to be on the Black man's side for no matter what skin tone he was. Had always had to be on their side. Like my dad was saying, how I was telling you about, like, when the Black man, a white man, the Black man on the street with his family, right? And there's a white man approaching. That Black man had to put his head down while that white man walks by him, because, you know, the white man doesn't want to feel disrespected. Or, you know, that Black man, even if he's not looking at his wife, he could get hung for, like, being accused of looking at his wife. And then this Black woman has to see her husband, the man of her family, put his head down while this white man's walking by her. She's had to stick through all of that, and you just throw her away because of the skin color? She's always had to be by you, and you just throw them away until it's...
Word. Yes.
You just throw them away. You don't even realize all the stuff. Black women have always had to stick down with you through the hard times. You have to look at, like, that's a hard thing to do as a man, to, like, have to put yourself down to another man in front of your kids, in front of your family. What if you got sons and daughters and your wife? That woman didn't care. She didn't want you to get killed. Yeah. Okay. That has a lot to do with it, though. Black women always protecting the Black man because he was in danger of being killed the most. But Black men got so used to that, they didn't realize that Black women were, specifically darker skinned Black women, were always used to being disrespected by everybody. Yeah. Even you. So, cause I was thinking about that man who said darker skinned women on your thing. No, the man who said darker skinned women don't have daddies and they have attitudes and stuff. I would like to ask him, sir.
We need to do a three-way.
What's the issue? What is the issue?
How do you believe gender intersects with colorism?
Well, we have given a lot of Black men a lot of flack recently so far right now.
You said, yeah, I know.
We didn't even talk about the colorism between them, because I would say darker skinned men are more favored. Well, right. Well, yeah. Lighter skinned men are seen as softer and not as dominating or manly. That's what your study said, right?
Yeah, okay, so I do find dark-skinned men do face colorism, like, in the real world, which we've already discussed. Of course, with jobs, you know, the criminal justice system, etc. Now, as far as with dating, no. The dark-skinned Black man is the pinnacle of all manliness, everything manly and protective and sexy is the dark skinned black man. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's to dark skinned women. That's to light skinned women. Now the only people
Mm-hmm.
who do not, from my study, who do not like dark skinned black men are white women. But of course, white people prefer, lighter skinned black people. So that makes plenty of sense. But yeah, dark skinned black women, they're facing three things. It's they're dark skinned, they're women, they're black. Like it's it's not the same. And those positive traits that are given to light skinned women, femininity, soft, they don't fight, etc., that transfers over to the light skinned black man. Okay?
Yeah.
He's soft, he's feminine, he's girly, he's gay. All those traits are given to the light skinned black man as well. And all those positive traits that are given to the black man are also turned negative with the dark skinned black woman. She's
Exactly.
aggressive, she fights all the time, she is rude, whatever. So all what's positive for one is negative for the other on both sides. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, um, have you ever experienced someone discriminating against you for your color?
Never. I have never. The only thing was I was a little lighter when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would blow my nose, this girl in school would call me Rudolph because my nose would turn red. That was the most that I ever got. I never got. And then when I got to high school, I was like, people would talk about, oh, you're light skin and blah, 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 and stuff like that. But being discriminated against, no. And also, I wasn't raised in a house that thought about skin tone. My mother, she's a Christian. She's like, listen, it doesn't matter if you're black, yellow, pink, you're the child of God.
Yeah.
So you are a child of God. Whether you are black, purple, it doesn't matter. So we never talked about that. My father never talked about that. So I never discriminated against anybody, and I was never discriminated against.
So so you know how me and you have talked about how in some households the lighter skinned kids are preferred over their darker skinned siblings. Now, do you feel like you have ever been preferred over your darker skinned siblings? I mean, I'm just gonna ask.
No, they're like my brothers are like a couple shades darker than I am, but we're pretty much all brown skin in my house. So we
Yeah.
never, no. My mother would whoop all of us equally. So yeah, so like, nah.
Okay. Um, have you ever felt that you have been preferred or liked because of your skin tone? Or has anyone ever made any positive comments regarding your skin tone in relation to like dating you or being attracted to you or anything like that?
Yeah, I remember in high school, like kids would talk about and I was this awkward kid in high school, but you could tell, even though I was a quiet, awkward kid, they still would bring up, "Oh, you're light skinned and stuff like that, and everything." And I would notice it wouldn't be light skinned people telling me this; it would be darker skinned girls telling me this. And I'm like, I wear a hoodie every day with it on. I'm like this awkward, weird kid who wears glasses, and like y'all are the beautiful ones, not just because of your skin tone, but I actually admired them, but they were like, "Oh, you're just so pretty because you're light skinned and stuff like that." And it never connected because I was never praised in my house because of my skin tone. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a thing. Yeah, so it never really connected. I never got a big head about it. I do remember kids being like, "Oh, I don't go out," like light skinned kids being like, "I don't go outside because I don't want to get darker." I remember hearing that. And I remember trying that foolishness too in middle school because you're an impressionable like
Yeah.
12-year-old kid. But then I was like, I actually want to go outside and play, so I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. But I remember hearing that from high school about like my skin color and everything.
Yeah.
It was a different story at home, like I said.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, um, do you believe that colorism is institutionalized? Like, do you think it affects like socioeconomic status, um, prison sentences, etc.?
Yes. Yes, because there's already a stigma about being black. and
Mhm.
then you're a darker skinned black person. So it's
Right.
like a double, you know what I'm saying? So like you said, that guy who said, uh, if it was a black sounding name, don't call him back or something.
Yeah.
So you get stigmatized already for being black, because in America it seems that if you are black, you're a criminal. That means bad. If you're
Mm.
darker skinned, that means yeah, you definitely did it. So you
Yeah.
you could get a longer sentence. You could not get a better job. People may assume that you are like on, you know, living in Section 8 and things like that just because of your skin tone. So there's just a lot of unfair perceptions um, about people with darker skin because, you know, black is bad in America and it's just awful. It's it's so like calculated, like how racism makes you like destroy your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you believe colorism will ever end? Who is responsible for ending it?
Will colorism ever end? In this world where everything is bad, no. But um how it can stop, how more things can stop is that as the individual just be brutally honest with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, like you were saying in the beginning, it's not very easy to bring this up with people, and I'm pretty sure people you've interviewed have said that well. It's not
Yeah.
very easy. It's not an easy topic because people get offended so easily, and they don't, and then they shut off their ears from ever hearing anything. It's like, well, I don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable, so I'm not going to listen to you. When you really just need to be honest and not take it so personally, especially when you're not even someone who is like being affected by it in a
Right.
negative way. So, and in all, you need to have compassion. There needs to be compassion for people who deal with colorism. And when they tell their stories, because I've heard many times when lighter skinned people say, "Oh, I'm tired of this like crybaby stuff." It's not a crybaby thing; it's a real thing. You know, we don't, black people don't like it when a white person says, "Oh, it's just crybaby," when you're talking about moments where you've had to deal with racism.
Right.
You shouldn't do that to you know, your own kind. You know what I'm saying? Your
Yeah.
own people. Like, so just be brutally honest with yourself. Sit down and just be like, am I colorist? Do I think this way about skin tone? Why do I think this way about skin tone? If you're a parent, don't perpetuate, you know, colorist ideas and mindsets to your kids. Especially if you have lighter skin tone people, children. Um, and so it's just gonna have to start with the individual who because it's got to start individually, because you can preach to somebody all day, but if they're not willing to change or actually hear the information and have compassion and be honest, not much is going to change. Everybody has to make a choice to be honest and do something within themselves.
Okay. Well, that is it. We appreciate you for coming to talking with us on
Mm-hmm.
things black.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I appreciate you for being my best friend and being here for me. And we appreciate your perspective. So, yeah, we appreciate your perspective, ma'am.
You're welcome, ma'am. You're welcome.
All right, so this is Sean and Nicole, and this is the end of another episode of All Things Black.
All right, bye, guys.